Remove this panel by hitting return on your keyboard, and then to the top of the screen to the left of where it says default, left click on choose screen layout, then left click video editing. Look for the button to the left of view that says graph editor, left click on it, and then left click properties. To import a video into Blender, you have two choices. You can either come down and left click on this add button here, and then left click movie, or with your pointer in this sequence line you can hold down shift followed by A, and again left click on movie. Look for the folder where your movies are stored and left click on them. If you want to see thumbnails of your movie, to the left of normal, left click on the box that's got 4 thumbnail icons in it, and this will bring up views of your videos. Then to import a video, simply left click on the video and then left click add movie strip. Now one of the problems with Blender is everything disappears towards the right of this sequence editor, so if you roll your middle mouse you can resolve this issue. And the other problem is you'll find 9 times out of 10 the blue video strip is shorter than the green video strip, green audio strip. Now the reason for this is probably, or 9 times out of 10, although the audio will be at 25 frames a second and will be imported correctly into Blender, the actual video strip won't be, because up here underneath frame rate it says 24 frames per second. So just left click on this, then left click 25, and you'll find this problem sorted. Another problem with Blender is by default you'll only get 250 frames in this view. And depending on your video, obviously you're going to need a lot more than this, so you can increase this initially and decrease it or increase it further as you go. So typically if you come down to the bottom of the screen where it says end 250, just left click and type in something like 2000 and you'll find you've got a lot more space to work with. Okay, if you point with your pointer in this screen here, you can roll your middle mouse and increase or decrease the view. But one problem you'll find with Blender is when you left click on this green line here, it will stick terrible, and that's because you're trying to scan through these a full video, which isn't no good to anybody. The way to get around this is to the left of this sequence, sorry, to the right of this sequence editor. Just drag this panel down and look for the box that says proxy timecode, and left click on in the box, and you'll see a few options here. I want to say 20, which is 25%, 5 for 50, 70 and 100. Now what this does is actually makes a proxy video, which is obviously a lot smaller. So if you leave this ticket at 25 or 2 as it says in the box, it will actually bring up a 25% version of the video you're working with, but what it won't do is affect your final render when you come to render it this side. So it's up to you. You can left click on 50%. I find 25 is perfectly adequate for editing with, so just drag this further on down and then left click on rebuild proxy and timecode indices, and what you'll see is a little bar scanning across the bottom here, and then matter of seconds it will disappear. Now with your pointer over the video, type N on your keyboard, and in the box that says view settings you'll see something which you can't see because I need to bring this out, called proxy render size. So click on the box that says scene render size, and depending on what you've selected, whether it's 25, 50 or whatever, left click on it. I've done 25, so I'm going to left click on the 25%, and then I'll close this panel down by pressing N. I'm going to roll my middle mouse so I can see the view better. Now what I can do is scan across this and I don't get it sticking or jerking. Okay, and the next thing to do is decide where you want your video to start from. So I don't know, let's say I want to start just here. Now in this video, to the right of where the end frame is, if you've typed in 2000 or whatever, I think I actually typed in 20,000, doesn't matter, there's a box that gives you your current frame. Now this one says 124. So rather than cutting it here, what I'm going to do is put in the start box where it says 1, I'm just going to left click and type 124 and hit return. So what that means, when I come to render this video, anything lower than the start frame 124 won't get rendered. That saves having to cut my video about. Now I'm going to look through this video and decide where I want to finish, or this clip where I want it to finish from. So let's say we, I don't know, want this clip to finish here. One thing is a good idea is actually put a marker where this line is, and all you got to do for that is just press M, and what that means is at any point, if you want to come back to this after you pressed M, you'll end up with this marker. If you come to the button to the left, bottom left, that says marker, and then either jump to next or previous, it will go straight back to where you wanted your video to finish. This will be a bit more apparent when I bring my next video in. So again, either go down to add at the bottom here, or hold Alt A with your pointer in the sequence editor and left click a movie. Again, next to normal, left click on the icons button and decide on another video you want to bring in. So I can't remember which one I brought in last. Let's try this one. So I'm going to left click on this one, left click add movie strip, and again I know this will stick terrible, so I'm going to come down here, I'm going to left click in the box next to proxy timecode, leave it at 25%, and then left click rebuild proxy and timecode indices. Wait for this pointer to or this build proxy indicators finished. And yes, here we go, lovely jubbly. Okay, so I need to now decide where I'm going to start this clip from. So I'm going to drag this slider over using my left mouse button, and I want to come from this point here. So I want to cut this bit away, so what I'm going to do is just press K on my keyboard, and then I'll right click on the audio to the left of this indicator line, press X, left click delete, do the same on the blue video line, press X and left click erase strips. Now I want to bring this back to my marker, so what I'll do is I'll come down to marker and I'll left click on previous marker, brings me straight back. Now if I hold down shift and right click on the audio and blue video, then press G, I can move these two back to this point where I placed the marker. That. So now if I now know this will start editing or rendering from this point, and this will carry on here now. Let's stop this, I don't know, here. Okay, so I'm going to leave this marker here. Again, I'll put this line here, I'll put a marker here, so I need to press M, forgetting what I'm doing. So I'm going to press M, and that'll put another marker. And again, with my pointer in the sequence editor, I'm going to hold down Shift followed by A and left click video, and look for something else that might be interesting. Let's have a look at my mate here. Okay, now this has come down below the final, the last video. Now I don't want this, so I'm going to just press G and move my mouse so that it's above. There's Sean, nice chap. Okay, left click to release. Again, that video clip will stick like Billy-O, so I'm going to left click in proxy timecode, and then left click rebuild proxy and timecode indices. Wait for this building proxies to finish, and I can have a look at this video now. Okay, so let's say I want to start this video here. Again, I'm going to press K, right click on the audio, then X, left click on delete, right on the video, X, left click on delete, then hold down Shift, right click on audio and video, then G, slide this back, and if I can't remember where I wanted the other one to start, all I do is come back to this marker, left click and jump to previous marker, and then G again, and I can roll this backwards or forwards, then left click to release. So now I've got my video clips pretty well sorted. And basically that's the simple bit of video editing done. You can cut the middle out of these, same as you can cut the ends if you want, and join them back together. I'm not going to go into too much detail. There's transitions you can put in, all sorts. But one thing we've got on this right now is far too much time. So as I said, I meant to put it in 2000, I put in 20,000. That's going to be no use to anyone. So all I'm going to do is just slide this across to the end of the clip and make a note down here of the last frame, and on this one it says 1080, so at the end frame where I've typed in 20,000, I'm just going to type in 1080 and hit return. And there we go. That's going to render from frame 104 to frame 1080. There's not a lot more you can do with this. It's pretty straightforward once you get your head around it. It's easy peasy. Okay, finally, to make something useful from your video, slide this panel down, this properties panel down, and in the output section next to it says TMP, left click on the little folder and then decide where you're going to save your video. As I said before, left click on the buttons or on the folders or if you're like me, I'm a lazy sod, so I'll just bung it on the desktop and worry about it afterwards. Then in this box here, left click and give it a title. I don't know, I'll call it Dr. Thorne. And then left click on accept. Bring the slider down further and you'll see a box that says PNG. Now if you render using PNG, these are images, so you'll end up with shed loads of images instead of videos, video clips. So just left click on this box and under movie decide what format you're going to use. So let's say I'm going to use MPEG, and then left click encoding, the little arrow next to encoding. And again, you've got different setups here. This at present says MPEG 2. I could go 4 or QuickTime, but I'll leave it at MPEG 2. And the other thing, unless somebody actually points out, right now if I render this, I won't get any sound. So next to audio codecs, you'll find it says none. So left click on none and decide what audio you're going to use. I'm going to use AC3. You could use MP3 if you want, but I'll use AC3. Then drag this slider up and under resolution you'll see there's a percentage box and it'll say 50%. If you want your video to render at its highest percentage, so either left click and drag this over or left click and type in 100. The other thing, if you've made your video any other size than the standard that comes up on resolution in Blender, then it won't work properly. So there's one thing you'll need to do before you start editing is make sure that the X and Y pixels match your video pixels, and they're probably as important as anything. So always make sure XY matches the pixels on your video, and also your frame rate's the same. And really there's not much else you can do. Basic editing, you can carry on fiddling around with this, but that's it. So all you have to do now is just left click on animation and you'll find this will go through quite quickly. And I'll just let this run and come back when it's finished rendering. Once your video's finished rendering, the only other thing worth noting, if you want for any reason to go back into your sequence editor, left click on this button here, it'll say UV image editor, and then left click video sequence editor, and that will bring this back up. Also, if you find that you want to do more than 3 clips, to the left of this sequence editor, left click on this bar that says 0246 and then move your pointer up, and you can obviously keep going on up. Don't know how many will go, but there's quite a lot there. So and that's basically one way of editing in Blender. There's not much else I can say really. So hopefully somewhere, here we are, we should have a video, full resolution, that is actually plays quite well. Yeah, not too bad. And that's all I'm gonna do for now. I might do a more advanced video editing tutorial sometime in the future. Also, the other thing is I have got a link to do AVHCD videos, which I tend to work with, but not everyone's computer will manage running those. But if you want to have a look at that, there is a video for that on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Cheers.